Deputy Róisín Shortall.
Cordia, I want to return to the issue of the nurses' strike. And Taoiseach, I have to say, I really find it very hard to understand what your thinking is. I'm just wondering, what your strategy is, or do you have any strategy at all for resolving this issue? And sometimes I think it's more about being seen to be tough rather than, playing your part as leader of this country in terms of dealing with a very, very serious pressing issue. The question has to be asked, do you actually want a solution? And if so, what action, if any, are you taking to try to achieve that solution? Because the government has been engaging in a campaign where you've consistently denied the seriousness of the shortage of nurses for the health service. And indeed, you've also sought to misrepresent the case being made. At no stage did the INMO lodge a pay claim of 12%. Or of any other percent for that matter. So would you please stop saying that? They haven't lodged a pay claim, so stop trying to misrepresent the situation. What the nurses are saying is that they want to engage with government on a number of key issues in relation to the future of the health service. They want to engage on the significant problems of recruitment and retention and the implications of those problems for the health service as it operates currently. They want to engage on the fact that there is now only one applicant for every 4 vacancies in nursing. So how do you address that? They want to engage on the fact that the health service is spending over €100 million per year on agency nurses. And there is no sense to that whatsoever. And not only, are there huge problems in relation to the cost of that, but also there are all those issues about lack of consistency, lack of stable teams in hospitals and so on. So, agency nursing, apart from being expensive, is not a solution. The nurses also want to engage in the fact that the HSE has an extensive and very expensive unit recruiting nurses now from all over the world. And they're not very successful in doing that. There have been a couple of very, very expensive and long-running campaigns in relation to recruiting nurses, trying to bring Irish nurses back, and they haven't been available. Taoiseach, this issue of pay parity is an issue that cannot be denied. There is a point there about graduate pay. You cannot defend the fact that in a situation where nurses are required to have the same academic qualifications as allied health professionals, that there is a €7,000 gap in pay. Do you accept that that is a genuine issue that hasn't been resolved, that hasn't been addressed over many years, and that must form part of any attempt to tackle this issue which is facing us now?
Thank you, Deputy Taoiseach.
Thanks, Deputy. I'm really not sure who's misrepresenting the facts here. I think I heard you say that there'd be no cost increasing claim. Pay parity is, of course, a cost increasing claim by definition, and it is one that is not accepted by other unions, and they've indicated that in writing to their members and also to government. It has never been the case that everyone who's a 4-year degree gets paid the same. There are lots of people who have 4-year degrees. They could be in accounting, they could be in teaching, they could be in any particular profession or walk of life. It's never been the case that because your degree is 3 years long or 4 years long that you get paid the same as everyone else who's a degree of 3 years or 4 years. That's not been the case ever, to my recollection. But as I said earlier, and I appreciate that I'm repeating myself, but the questions are the same, so I think it's only reasonable that I be allowed to do so. That those of us here in government on these benches have no doubt about the strength of feeling by nurses and midwives about their terms and conditions. We have no doubt at all about their resolve and their willingness to strike and strike again. And we've no doubt that the public will be very much behind them. So absolutely we want to resolve this. We're willing to engage, as is the norm, through the WRC and the Labour Court, the government bodies that have been set up to resolve disputes like this, but it can only be done in certain parameters. It has to be affordable for the taxpayer. I can't justify borrowing money to fund pay increases. It has to be fair to other public servants, those who aren't on strike, those with whom we have a deal which is being stuck to, and those who work in the health sector as well. And it also has to be fair to patients.
Quoting the Public Service Stability Agreement quite a lot. The reality is that that agreement allows for extra measures to address problems with recruitment and retention. In fact, Clause 4 specifically allows for government action on those two issues, and the government now needs to engage. Taoiseach, the General Secretary of Congress, Patricia King, has been reported as saying that a resolution can be found within the PSSA. Now, she is probably the most experienced union leader in the country. She has more industrial relations experience than the entire cabinet. I'm asking you, Taoiseach, will you agree to set up a meeting with Patricia King as a matter of urgency to look at how this issue can be addressed and how we can break the logjam that's there at the moment and put in place around a table, as your Minister for Social Protection says, around a table to get talks, to have genuine engagement in this, to keep the employers represented by DEPR, to get them to come with a proper attitude to the table rather than the kind of dismissive attitude that they have had up to now, and indeed the disingenuous attitude that they have had. It's in your hands, Taoiseach. You can address this matter. You can stop those further strike days taking place. Will you now make a significant intervention and meet with Patricia King to look at strategies for resolving this issue?
Taoiseach.
Deputy, I've met with Patricia King about this issue, and I've spoken to her as well, and I'd have no difficulty meeting her again or speaking with her again. That is the way we engage with the trade unions. Minister Donoghue, as Minister for Public Expenditure, me as Head of Government, engage regularly with ICTU on issues such as this, and that has been ongoing and that will continue. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not my practice to organise meetings in the chamber, and I don't think.
Thank you, Taoiseach. No, time is up, Deputy. Thank you very much. We must now.